Joining us now is the Reverend Stephen Copland. Stephen is my wife Susan's brother. He's a minister in Grovedale in Geelong and a chaplain with the Army Reserves. I've asked Stephen to join us today because he, with his family and indeed their whole church, have been watching these videos since the beginning of lockdown. So I thought it would be great to catch up with him. Stephen is a father of 4 boys, mostly grown up now. What is it that you have most wanted for them?
That's a great question, Mark. What is it that I most want for my boys and have most wanted for them is for them to know and to understand and to believe that wherever they are, whatever they choose to do and the choices that they make, that they are loved unconditionally by their Father in heaven, that they're loved by me also, but mostly that their Father in heaven loves them exactly how they are.
Stephen, you're about to read for us the wonderful story of the prodigal son. What does the Father's love for the returning son mean to you?
The parable that Jesus tells is, like so many other people, is my story. It tells of my story of me living the life that I wanted to live. Yet in all of those years where I continued to make the choices and live the life that I wanted to live, I knew that his love was still unconditional, that he loved me as his wayward son and in my sin. And so this story of the Father demonstrating his love, where he throws his arms around his son and dresses him and celebrates a found son, again is, as you know, my story. And so now I'm called to the work that I am today, but the love that he demonstrated to me in the forgiveness that he offered and worked in my life as he called me back to him is amazing. The grace that he demonstrated in loving me and blessing me.
Thank you so much for sharing. Will you now read that passage for us?
A reading from Luke, chapter 15, verses 1 to 2 and 11 to 32. Now the tax collectors and sinners were all gathered around to hear Jesus. But the Pharisees and the teachers of the law muttered, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." From verse 11. There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger one said to his father, "Father, give me my share of the estate." So the father divided his property between them. Not long after that, the younger son got together all that he had, and he set off for a distant country, and there squandered his wealth in wild living. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in that whole land, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to a citizen of that country, who sent him to his fields to feed his pigs. He longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. When the son finally came to his senses, he said, "How many of my father's hired servants have food to spare, and here I am starving to death? I'll set out and go back to my father and say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants.' So he got up and he went to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. And so he ran to his son. He threw his arms around him and he kissed him. The son said to his father, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son.' But the father said to his servants, 'Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate, for this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found.' And so they began to celebrate. Meanwhile, the older son was in the field. When he came near the house, he heard the music and the dancing. So he called one of the hired servants and asked him what was going on. "Your brother has come," he replied, "and your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound." The older brother became angry and refused to go in. So his father went out and pleaded with him. But he answered his father, "Look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders. Yet you never gave me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours, who's squandered your property with prostitutes and comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him." "My son," the father said, "you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad, because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is now found." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.